How to learn a language if you have difficulties staying focused. Do you find it hard to focus when you're studying a different language? If you find that you sit down to study and then you get distracted and pulled away, or you have a new idea that comes to your head and you just have to research it right there and then, or you have to stop what you're doing to reply to someone, do you feel overwhelmed by having so many different things to do on your task list and you just don't know what to start first? So you just procrastinate in the meantime. You might go on YouTube, watch a video like this, or do something completely different that won't help you with your language learning. That is incredibly common for people, not just with language learning, but with anything. When it comes to studying, we can find it very, very difficult to focus on one thing at a time, and that's common across many people. Some people have ADHD, some people have some sort of attention deficit, but in general, even if you've not been diagnosed with that, you might find it hard to focus when you're language learning, and that is what I'm going to help you with today. So in this video, I'm going to cover 5 points as to how you can minimize distractions, focus more and get more stuff done so you can get closer to your language goals. My name's James, I'm native in English, puedo hablar español y anche posso parlare italiano. I help people reach a conversational level in a different language. Point number 1 is do short, focused study sessions. So many people, when it comes to learning a different language, think that you have to sit down for an hour or two to study grammar and to learn new words and phrases. That's not true, and it's actually best if you do really short study sessions because we have, as humans, a set attention span. It's around 20 to 25 minutes. You can focus a bit more, some people can do more than that, but essentially, after this point, you start daydreaming and lacking focus to an extent. And if you spend more time than that, there's a high chance that you won't remember everything you learn after that point. So it's best having short 15-minute sessions to focus on one thing at a time. Maybe it's a grammar rule, maybe it's the past perfect grammar, or a particular part of the language that you want to learn right here, right now. So that's why it's good to have a study plan so you can focus on 15-minute sessions every day rather than waiting until one day and having an hour. So short sessions help you focus, and it also means that mentally, if you're ready to sit down and study something within your language, you find it easier to actually start doing it. Because one of the hardest things when people get distracted and they have a lack of attention is getting to do it in the first place. Once you've started it, it can be a lot easier. So promise yourself, I'll just do 15 minutes of this. And if you want to do more, that's perfect. Just remember that you might not remember everything you study after this point, after about 20 to 25 minutes. But keep it short and focused. The second point is use a variety of different methods. So you might be listening to a podcast in Spanish, and you want to write down something in Spanish, some basic phrases. It depends what level you're at. But don't just focus on one thing. Don't just focus on doing Duolingo or your favorite language app for a few minutes. That's good, but it's only part of it. It also means that if you start studying some grammar in Spanish, for example, and you get a bit bored of doing this, then you can switch to another task. But the thing is, that other task is still language related. So you're not switching to Instagram or scrolling Facebook. You're actually switching to maybe watching a TV series on Netflix in your target language instead. Or maybe watching a video where people are asking other people on the street about their learning experience, but in a different language, so like interviews, that sort of thing. So mix it up a bit and use variety as well. You could even use flashcards, and what flashcards do is that they keep memories up to date. So any words you've say forgotten or you've not used in a long time, they bring it up to scratch by reminding you, okay, what does this word mean? Oh, I remember that. I forgot it before, but these flashcards now help me to do it. And you can create your own flashcards as well. I've done a different video about this, but this is another great method you can use to make sure that you have options when you get distracted, to be distracted and do another task related to language learning rather than something completely different. And just remember, our minds, when they're distracted or they're seeking out distractions, they crave novelty. They crave new ideas, new thoughts. You really want to have something different. So if you want to keep learning a language or keep making progress with studying a language and you feel distracted, then distract yourself with something similar. So something where you're still learning a language, it's just in a different form or method. The third point, your environment. So the environment that you're in when you're studying matters so much, because if you've got a lot of distractions or there's people in the room or the television's on, as soon as you hear something interesting, you'll stop writing down the grammar rules in Spanish, or you'll stop writing down or studying the new vocabulary and you'll start watching it. This is when it comes to studying. For some people, just get out and chat to people, But other people, when you want to study a particular area of the language, maybe you need to brush up on your past tenses or future tenses or the grammar side of things, and you have to sit down and study, then you have to make sure that you're in an environment which you like, it's comfortable, you enjoy, you're relaxed, and also you've got minimal distractions. So if there's a lot of noises or background noise going on or people talking, try and either put headphones on or earphones on. Don't play a song, maybe. Just play either relaxed music or just have them on as earplugs to block out the surrounding noise. But the most important thing is, if you can do this on a regular basis, that's perfect. So find somewhere that's quiet, that you can relax in, and that is free from distractions. Then on your phone, make that either on silent or put it upside down so you can't see it, you can't hear it. And that's the best way forward, because if your environment is clear and it sets you up for success in terms of minimizing distractions, then you'll get to your language skills a lot quicker because you'll be able to focus more. And also remember that our brains are wired in such a way that it remembers what environment we're in, and it has different autopilots that subconsciously we don't know that are running, but you'll find that if you're in a certain place, you might feel happier or in a different emotional state than somewhere else. So if, for example, you're in a new place, your body doesn't really know, your mind doesn't really know what's going on here, so it might feel a bit more anxious. But if you're in your bedroom, or you're alone somewhere, you might feel a lot more relaxed and ready to learn language. So bear that in mind when it comes to minimizing distractions. Your environment can make a big difference. Next point, use physical movements. So many people, including myself, I can be quite fidgety. My knee goes up and down when I'm sort of focused on something or can be a bit nervous, and I like using hand gestures a lot. You can't quite see it on this video because it's a bit lower down, but I like using hand gestures to explain myself, because a lot of our communication is done non-verbally in our expressions and the way in which we use our bodies. However, when it comes to focusing and learning a different language, you might have excess energy. You might sit down to study, but you're fidgeting. You want to fidget with something. In that case, have a pen, or maybe have a walk round the room, take a few strides around the room while you're looking at your grammar or whatever you're studying, and walk round. Because if you have physical activity as well, not only does it get rid of any excess energy you have and it allows you to channel it onto the thing that you're learning, but there's also research that if you use physical activity, then your brain remembers more of what you're learning in that moment when you're moving around or doing something physical. So there are so many benefits in terms of using physical actions when you're sort of learning something, not just for language learning, but this can also apply to other subjects too. Point number 5, reward yourself every time you have a small win. So if you find that you're using flashcards and you remember a word, no matter how small it is, if you remember a word that you didn't know before, that's progress. So have a chocolate bar or something, or have something that you find a reward, maybe a coffee, or maybe have a walk or something, or or listen to a favorite track. Obviously balance it out, because if you get one word right and then you listen to a 3-minute track, then your study session will take a long time. But balance it out so that maybe after you've finished a 15-minute study session, you do something rewarding, something that you enjoy. So it could be going for a walk, or going to the gym, or eating something that you enjoy, that sort of thing. And the importance of this is if you don't reward yourself, then there's a habit equation essentially, where in order to get into a habit and do things in the future consistently, you have to have a reward. So an example is social media. If you upload a photo onto Instagram and people like it, next time you open social media, it could be that you have a like, it could be that you don't. And that is a variable reward. And essentially, it's a part of why it becomes addictive to do certain things. And social media is designed in a certain way where it wants you to get rewarded, because it knows that if there's a reward though, if someone likes your photo, it releases chemicals in your brain that feel good, and that makes you want to come back for more. So if you can replicate that process in terms of language learning and reward yourself after you've done a certain amount of studying, say 15 minutes is all it takes, and then you have a reward, the next time you think, right, I'm going to sit down and study this again now, your brain remembers, wait a minute, last time I did that, I did something else good as well. Your brain will be more allowing of you, if that's a word. It'll be happier to sit down and study because it knows it's going to get reward at the end of it. That's how it works. It works for animals too, like cats and dogs. You give them a treat when they do something well, or when they do a trick or something, or when they do something good. It works the same with humans, and especially if you're distracted, it helps you so much if you reward yourself after doing it. Ultimately, this video has been about how to remain focused if you're a person who naturally gets distracted. Maybe you've got ADHD, maybe ADD, or any of those things. It doesn't matter. Essentially, many people who are distracted have the same symptoms, that it's hard to focus. They have a thought that comes to their head and they have to Google it or find it out right now. They have to do something different to sitting down and studying. And you get a lot of excess energy and nervous energy sometimes when you're trying to force yourself to do something. So hopefully you found this video valuable. But in general, people who have difficulties focusing can also get ultra focused on something that they enjoy. You can get people who are obsessed with things. I'm obsessed with language learning, for example, and also music. So when it comes to actually sitting down and studying or doing something language related, whether it be in a conversation or out and about living in a different country, I get obsessed with things, and that's super helpful, and you might too. But it's just a case of how can I get myself from my current distracted state into a focus mode where nothing is distracting me and I cannot pull myself away from a task. Because you might relate to that when you get stuck into a task and you're completely 100% focused on it, nothing can distract you, and you're in the zone. And that's a wonderful place to be in. And quite often for people who get distracted or have got an attention deficit of some sort, the bonuses of that is that when they get into something, they absolutely focus like mad and their brain engages, all their brain engages, and they get stuff done really well. So that's what you need to get into, or that's a good place to get into. And hopefully these tips have helped you have an idea as to how to minimize distractions and get closer to that point. Finally, YouTube is really good at recommending things that will be valuable to you. And if you want to progress faster in your language career, it will come up now, either that side or that side, with a suggested video of mine that will help you get closer to language goals. So with that being said, feel free to click on a video and go and watch that now. See you later.